Majority of people discuss ways in which they can increase their income, but very few people discuss ways in which they can effectively manage the money they already have. While it is vital to build wealth, it is of equal significance to protect your financial resources and make proper use of those resources once they have been acquired. To maintain the long-term stability and liquidity of your financial situation, you must be meticulous and conservative in how you save, invest, and spend the money that you work so hard to earn. This is a reachable goal if a person is prudent. A vital component of effective financial management is the practice of maintaining an accurate record of one's spending while maintaining a financial plan that is appropriate. Keeping track of one's spending makes it easier to recognize and reduce costs associated with activities and purchases that aren't essential. This is necessary for freeing up funds that may then be invested in activities and purchases that are essential. Here are 6 ways you can practice responsible stewardship over your financial resources. Number 6. Compose a financial plan. The first and most important step in the process of managing one's finances is developing a budget. To begin the process of creating a budget, you would first need to develop an estimate of the amount of money you would require, taking into consideration your income, lifestyle, and your wants. This estimate will serve as the foundation for your budget. If you have such an estimate, you will be able to exert more control over your current financial condition. As a direct result of this increased control, you will be better able to plan both your spending and your savings. If you have more control and knowledge over your spending patterns, you will be able to keep better track of your financial goals and efficiently fulfill those financial goals. This will allow you to achieve your financial goals more effectively. This will also make it possible for you to achieve your goal without requiring you to make any adjustments to the way that you currently live your life. Number 5. Put money away first, then spend it when you have more of it. It is wise, as a general rule of thumb, to first set aside some portion of your monthly earnings, and to, then, begin spending your money on your everyday requirements, such as groceries, rent, energy, loan repayments, insurance premiums, and so on. Putting money aside in this manner can be helpful in the long run. Putting money aside first can help you avoid getting into financial trouble in the future. This eliminates the risk of overpaying or exceeding the amount of money you have been allocated, and it ensures that you will be prepared to deal with any crisis that may occur in the future. Number 4. Determine your desired monetary outcome. Maintaining your focus on the work at hand and avoiding going overboard with your expenditures are both made easier when you have a financial goal in mind. Create a strategy for how you intend to spend your money, not just in the short term, but also in the medium and long term. For instance, if you want to achieve your long-term financial objectives, such as buying the house of your dreams, paying for your child's college tuition, retiring comfortably, and reaching several other goals, you may need to start investing in financial products. Always keep in mind that the goals you set out to achieve should be realistic and give yourself a time frame for achieving those goals. This is one of the ways to reach your goals. This will make it easier for you to stay motivated, and it will ensure that your money is spent in the most efficient ways possible. Number 3. Get a head start on your investments by starting early. It is prudent to begin putting money away for one's future as soon, in one's life, as it is possible to do so. This gives you more time to build your money, which will ultimately result in greater returns throughout a longer period, allowing your returns to be spread out across time. Here is an example of one such long-term investment. In the country of India, the ICICI Prudence Lifetime Classic 1 plan is one fantastic option to consider. This unit-linked plan too allows you to produce significant cash for your financial goals, in addition to providing financial safety for your loved ones in the form of life insurance coverage for you. These benefits are both major advantages. The plan offers a total of 4 distinct portfolio methods, and you are free to choose one of them based on the goals you have set for yourself and based on the level of risk you are willing to accept. You are also free to switch between these different types of funds at any point in time without paying any additional costs, and you also have the choice of selecting either debt funds, balanced funds, or equity funds to invest in. In addition to this, the plan provides you with loyalty additions, 3 and wealth boosters. This is true, provided that you continue to hold onto your investment for a longer period and pay all of your premiums in a timely manner without missing any payments. This plan would have a substantial positive impact on the entirety of your earnings. You would also have the choice of paying the premium on a monthly, semi-annual, or annual basis, or you can choose to pay it all at once. Alternatively, you can also pay the premium in any combination of these 3 time intervals. You can also get tax benefits on premiums you pay for an amount of up to 46,800 rupees under Section ADC of the Income Tax Act 1961. This benefit is in addition to any other tax advantages that may be available to you. Other comparable life insurance plans are available in other nations as well. Number 2, try to eliminate financial obligations. Although it is a common practice to take out loans to achieve one's life goals, doing so comes with several negatives that one should be aware of. Because of high interest rates, your savings may be depleted when you take out loans. Also, your credit score may suffer, which will make it more difficult for you to receive credit when it is essential, and may even make it more difficult for you to find a job. If your credit score suffers, it could be more difficult for you to obtain credit when it is necessary. As a result, you should exert as much effort as possible to cut down on the amount of debt you owe. If you are overly reliant on credit cards or if you take on too much debt, it could hurt your budget, and you could find yourself in a challenging financial position. Number 1, get an early start on your savings. You must begin your plan to save as soon as you can get the opportunity to do so. Let's have a look at an illustration to help better understand what I mean. Let us assume that Mr. B begins putting aside 10,000 rupees each month when he is 30 years old. He continues to do so until he is 60 years old. It can be deduced from this scenario that he sets aside 1,200,000 yen each year for savings. Let's compare this scenario to the one involving Mr. C, who starts putting away twice as much money, or 240,000 rupees annually, when he is 45 years old. He continues to do so until he is 60 years old. Simply put, the earlier you start saving, the more interest your savings will get over time. With the power of compounding interest, you get interest not only on your savings, but also on the returns earned every year. Thus, saving early helps to generate more money with the power of compounding interests over time. Investments. Now, let's take a deeper look at the topic of investing. Are you a saver or a spender? If you chose the first option, you might consider yourself part of the larger group being discussed in this presentation. Approximately 59% of Americans responded to a survey, conducted by Charles Schwab in 2019, and indicated that they regarded themselves to be savers. When you compare these statistics to more recent ones, however, you will find that 63% of respondents, who come from a population that is comparable to the one previously described, are currently living paycheck to paycheck. It is quite clear that there is a gap between the monetary objectives that some have as opposed to others. We have to set goals for ourselves, and then we have to set goals for the actions that we are taking in order to bring those objectives to fruition. Many of us have the belief that saving money is the surest route to accumulating riches and obtaining freedom from one's monetary obligations at an early age. However, this is just a myth. Even if conserving money is the most important step in working toward either of these objectives, using that money to make intelligent investments brings a person much closer to the reality of a better financial status. The rational fear that prevents the majority of individuals from investing is the fear of experiencing financial loss rather than experiencing financial gain. When we put in a lot of effort at work and are self-disciplined enough to reduce our consumption and put that money into savings, it is natural that the prospect of losing those dollars makes us feel uneasy. Because of this, we make sure that our funds are safe by keeping them in a bank account that is insured by the FDIC. The issue is that the value of the money that we deposit into our accounts will almost certainly decrease over time. Because the interest rates offered by savings accounts are so low, they cannot even keep up with the rate of inflation. As a result, the longer we save, the less purchasing power our money has. However, there is some positive news to report. You can lower the risk element, improve the reward factor, and generate real returns if you make the correct judgments and invest in the appropriate locations. This will prevent you from having the feeling that you would be better off in Vegas. As you get started, there are a few questions that you should think about. For example, why should you put your money into a particular investment? The question of whether or not one should save money or invest comes up frequently in the world of finance. On the other hand, these are only two sides of the same coin. When it comes to amassing wealth, saving is an essential component of the financial toolbox. This is not because saving generates money on its own, but rather because it provides the capital that is required for investment. Investing enables you at the very least to maintain purchasing power in the face of rising prices brought on by inflation. The potential for compound interest, also known as growth gain on growth, is the primary advantage that can be realized from pursuing an investment strategy with a long-term time horizon. How much of your money should you put away in savings as opposed to investing? The most appropriate response to the question of how much you should save is as much as possible, given that the motivations that bring individual investors into the market are always different. The best place to begin is by setting aside 20% of your income as a general rule. Indeed, Having more is almost always preferable, but in my opinion, having 20% allows you to build up a respectable amount of cash throughout your career. At first, you should use these savings toward the establishment of an emergency fund with a balance that is about equivalent to 3 to 6 months worth of your typical costs. After you have established an emergency savings account, you should invest any additional funds that aren't being used to pay for specific expenses. This capital has the potential to grow if it is invested sensibly and kept for an extended length of time. Now, how exactly do financial investments work? The term market is commonly used in the realm of finance to refer to a physical location or virtual platform that facilitates the buying and selling of financial instruments such as stocks, bonds, and other assets. If you want to enter the market, you must open an investment account such as a brokerage account, which you then fund with cash. After doing so, you will be able to purchase stocks, bonds, and other investable assets using the money in your account. This can be done through well-known companies such as Charles Schwab or Fidelity, and the process is very comparable to that of opening a bank account. Stocks versus bonds. Companies that are publicly traded can use the market to raise capital for their operations, growth or expansion by issuing stocks, small pieces of ownership of the firm, or bonds, debt, both of which are considered forms of debt. To put it simply, when a corporation issues bonds on the market, it is essentially asking investors for loans to raise money for its organization. The bonds are purchased by the investors and the corporation is obligated to repay the investors together with an interest rate in the future. On the other hand, stocks are just little chunks of a company's equity that may be bought and sold. Once a business transitions from the private to the public sector, its shares become available for purchase and sale on the market, signaling that the company is no longer privately held. The price of a share of stock usually reflects the value of the company, but the actual price is set by what buyers and sellers are prepared to do on any particular day on the market. Making and losing money when you acquire something on the market. The difference between the price you pay and the amount you sell it for that determines whether you make or lose money. A stock that was purchased for $10 and then sold for $15 results in a profit of $5. If you buy something for $15 and then sell it for $10, you will incur a loss of $5. Gains and losses are only realized or countered when you make the sale of the asset. This means that the stock you acquired for $10 could decrease to $6, but you will only lose the $4 difference if you sell the shares for $6. Conversely, you might decide to hold onto the stock for a year and then sell it when it reaches $11, resulting in a profit of $1 per share. Are you making reasonable investments? It is time to start thinking about where you want to place your money now that you have a basic understanding of how investing works. Keep in mind that, as a general rule of thumb, the calculated risk is the best kind of risk that an investor may take, but how exactly can that risk be determined? How do you tell the difference between a safe investment and a high-risk investment? In all honesty, the terms smart and risky are relative to each investor. You may determine where you are on the risk spectrum by looking at your circumstances, such as your age, the amount of debt you have, and your family situation as well as your risk tolerance. In general, younger investors who have a significant number of years till retirement have riskier portfolios. A longer time horizon provides investors with more years to ride out the ups and downs of the market, and it is excellent for investors to continue contributing to their investment accounts during their working years rather than withdrawing money from those accounts. However, someone who is already retired or who is very close to that age is far more susceptible to shifts in the market. That is, if you keep your day-to-day spending money in an investment account, you run the risk of being obliged to withdraw that money while the market is experiencing a downturn. This would not only reduce the size of your portfolio, but also increase the likelihood that you would suffer severe losses on your investments. A portfolio with a higher level of risk would most likely contain a substantial amount of equities and fewer bonds, if any at all. As young investors get older and realize they need to lower the amount of risk in their portfolios, they should gradually reduce the amount of money they have invested in stocks and gradually raise the amount of money they have invested in bonds. The ups and downs of life will have a greater impact on your investments than you may know at this point. However, if you are honest with yourself about the state of your finances right now, you will have a better understanding of how and where to invest your money. Now let's look at some ways to develop financial independence. If you are financially independent, you can make choices about your life without feeling unduly concerned about the impact those choices will have on your finances. This is because you are financially ready to handle anything that may come your way in life. You do not have any outstanding debt. You have money in the bank, and you are investing for the future. Here is a list of 5 steps you can take in order to achieve financial independence. Number 5. Making a budget. Learn the art of making a budget. If you don't have a strategy for managing your finances, you likely won't make any progress towards financial freedom. Instead, you'll find yourself scratching your head at the end of each month trying to figure out where all of your money went. This is not true financial freedom. Instead, it is, rather, a recipe for a disastrous financial future. If you do not adhere to a strict spending plan, it will be impossible for you to achieve financial independence. You have to decide where your money is going to go, or else you will wind up wondering what happened to it. Before the beginning of the month, assign a purpose to each dollar, and then, keep track of your expenses as the month progresses. You always have the option to alter the amount that is allocated to a particular category even if you repeatedly spend too much or too little in a given area. It's essential to create a budget to get your finances back on the right track, but the work isn't done there. Even after you have achieved financial independence, you will continue to create a new budget every month. You need to have a plan in place, regardless of the amount of money you have. Number 4, eliminate all of your outstanding debts once and for all. If you have any kind of debt, such as credit card debt, student loans, or vehicle loans, now is the time to get rid of it. Why? Because you can never genuinely enjoy financial independence without doing so. As long as you continue to make payments to banks and lenders equaling hundreds of your hard-earned dollars each month, your debt will prevent you from becoming debt-free. Your salary is the most important factor in determining how much wealth you amass. You will not be able to achieve your financial objectives if all you have to work with are scraps of money that are left over after you have paid off your credit card bills and your college loans. Paying off your debts helps you establish a solid foundation upon which you may create long-term prosperity. When people first begin budgeting, the majority of them seem to be under the impression that they now have more money. If this applies to you, this could be to your advantage. Put all of that extra cash toward paying off the smaller debts you have, first, until those debts are completely paid off. Then, let that snowball continue rolling. The process of paying off debt is laborious, but the satisfaction that comes from really keeping the money you earn each month can't be compared to anything else. So, are you prepared to start your road toward becoming debt-free? If so, Financial Peace University has an online program that has assisted many in lowering the debt of millions of people just like you in getting out of debt and staying out of debt. Number 3, set financial goals. Everyone has the goal of becoming financially independent one day. That would be a fantastic dream, but a dream without a destination is nothing more than a desire. Setting monetary objectives, such as paying off debt or accumulating funds for retirement, is one of the most significant things you can do on your path to achieving financial independence. How can you tell if the objective you have set for yourself is a worthwhile one to pursue? Goals provide an objective for you to strive and work toward. Here is how to establish objectives that can be achieved. 1. Be specific. 2. Make sure that your goals can be measured. 3. Establish a time limit for yourself. 4. Take ownership of your goals and make sure that they are goals that you agree with. 5. Finally, put your objectives down on paper. Let's pretend you're serious about eradicating your financial obligations. That is a worthy objective to pursue, but by itself, it is not enough. Set a goal. For example, how much of your outstanding debt do you plan to pay off? Is it $20,000? The goal is set. Now, things are looking up. We are making progress. When do you hope to be completely free of debt? How does a year and a half sound? Done. Just like that, you have a goal that is particular, measurable, and personal to you, along with a firm date tied to it. You're on your way to saying, I aim to pay off $20,000 worth of debt in a year. Now, all you need to do is write it down and make sure to keep it in the forefront of your mind as you pursue it. Number 2, make an informed decision regarding your professional path. As was mentioned earlier, the most important fact in determining your wealth is your income. Therefore, there's a lot of risk when it comes to deciding on a line of work to pursue. Do not stay at a job that is not going to lead somewhere, especially if it is causing you to feel unhappy. Find a profession that you like doing and that also helps you work toward your objectives of achieving financial security so that you can take pleasure in the trip. So what exactly should you be on the lookout for? The following are some things that should be kept in mind. Always remember to start with the end in mind. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Does this career make sense with what you want to accomplish in the long run? Is there the possibility of earning money from it? Even if you don't start off making the payment of your dreams, it's important to make sure there are opportunities for your income to grow in tandem with the value you bring to the table. Can you grow? Are there chances for you to advance in your career and expand both your personal and professional horizons? Do you take pleasure in the work? Do not allow yourself to spend a lifetime doing work that you detest. Find an activity that piques your interest and enables you to make use of your natural abilities and qualities. Are you able to move closer toward your objective of achieving financial independence with the benefits? The opportunities you have available to save for retirement and obtain health insurance can have a significant impact on your capacity to amass money. Because the profession you choose might have a significant effect on your long-term financial strategy, you should give this decision a lot of thought. Do you want to find work that not only provides you with a high income but also allows you to make a significant contribution to the world? Check out Ken Coleman's newest work, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love, which is the title of his current book and a bestseller in the field of careers. Number 1. Set aside some funds for unexpected expenses. If you want to achieve financial independence, you must have an emergency fund that is completely funded. This functions as a buffer between you and the unforeseen life events that can happen to everyone, such as the need to repair a vehicle, replace damaged appliances, or pay deductibles for medical care. Once you have paid off your debt, you should put aside enough money in your emergency fund to cover your costs for 3 to 6 months. Your peace of mind and the success of your overall financial plan are both directly correlated to the amount of cash that you have on hand to handle unanticipated life events. When you have a savings account that is completely funded, you will start to feel like you have more freedom in your budget.
Mastering the art of negotiation: how to close deals and make more money. Many individuals think that there must be a winner and a loser in any negotiation, because it is all or nothing. Nothing is more false than it is. Although getting what you want is undoubtedly the aim of negotiation, the best agreements, the ones that endure, incorporate terms and suggestions from both parties. This article will offer some strategies and advice that skilled negotiators use to achieve their goals. In almost any negotiation situation, these recommendations can be employed. Before any negotiations, an individual should consider their goals for the negotiating process before engaging in any formal negotiations. Therefore, it makes sense to write down particular objectives or desired results. Be positive. What in your transaction would you consider a home run? The opposing side might just agree to all of your demands to resolve this. The next step is for them to come up with several backup plans that they are confident in and would still close the deal. The goal is to have considered as many different possibilities as you can. Finding, or attempting to find, any potential holes in the position of the opposition should be the next step. For instance, it is important knowledge that can be used in negotiations. If one party in a real estate deal is aware that the other side must sell a specific property, or risk experiencing a liquidity crisis, finding their shortcomings is crucial. This is due to the possibility that a prepared party could use the other party's shortcomings to its advantage and win the negotiation. Help both sides more clearly define a possible area of middle ground, at the very least. Another pre-negotiation practice is to create a list of benefits that their proposal would have for the opposing side. Most people don't do this, but they should, to advance the cause and or find some common ground. It makes sense to bring up the major issues of this list during the actual negotiation with the counterparty. Again, using real estate as an example, one party, in this case a firm, can claim that its offer for a specific property is more advantageous than others, even though it is lower in dollars, since it is an all-cash offer as opposed to a riskier financing or a stock swap. The chances of closing the transaction rise when the negotiator clearly articulates the benefits to both sides. In person, each side should ideally state its goals and objectives from the beginning. This makes it possible for each negotiator to understand where the other is coming from. Additionally, it creates the framework for an interactive discussion. Each party may now provide its backup plans and counterproposals to reach an agreement. However, in addition to the initial exchange of proposals, there are other steps that negotiators can take to improve their prospects of winning the contract. As an illustration, consider body language analysis. Was your suggestion accepted? Direct eye contact and head nodding are indicative of success. Negative behaviors include crossing the arms across the chest, avoiding eye contact, or shaking the head subtly as if to indicate no. The next time you pose a question, pay close attention. You'll see that a person's body language frequently reveals a great deal about their underlying emotions. Here are a few pieces of advice. A party may indicate that they are open to a particular proposition by using ambiguous language or expressions. Pay particular attention to words like can, possibly, perhaps, maybe, or acceptable. Additionally, the use of expressions like looking forward to it or anxiously awaiting your reply may indicate that the party is excited and or confident that a deal will be achieved soon. See if you can combine some of the ideas included in the initial or counter proposal from the other party into your own, then quickly close the transaction. If reaching a compromise on a specific matter is not possible, suggest additional options that you believe would be agreeable to both parties. A more formal contract that reflects the agreements reached during the negotiation is necessary, too. To that aim, shortly after the discussion process is finished, have a lawyer prepare a formal contract, and make sure that everyone signs it on time. You can get through these impediments to concluding a commercial contract by using one of the 7 negotiation techniques listed below. Number 7. Struggle with the procedure. According to Harvard Law School professor Robert C. Bordone, we frequently struggle to reach agreements in discussions because we didn't establish a clear method up front. Before discussing the particular problems at stake or the specifics of your negotiations, talk about the negotiating process. What guidelines are necessary? Who will lead group discussions? When and what topics will you be talking about? In addition to facilitating more effective and streamlined negotiations, Bordone claims that outlining the negotiation process can assist you to avoid making erroneous assumptions throughout your discussions. Number 6. Establish deadlines and benchmarks. Bordone advises setting both short-term targets and a feasible yet ambitious final date when planning the negotiation process. What happens if you miss a deadline or a benchmark? Discuss openly whether a new timetable is required and how you might better move forward. As time runs out, negotiators frequently worry that they will make too many concessions. But keep in mind that the deadline also affects the other side. As a result, deadlines can encourage compromise and original thinking on both sides, according to research by University of California at Berkeley professor Don A. Moore. Number 5. Try an exit strategy. Guhan Subramanian, a professor at Harvard Business School and Harvard Law School, advises trying a shutdown maneuver if you think that a more enticing offer from a rival may make it difficult to close the business. For instance, you can request that the opposing party agree to a brief, exclusive negotiating window, like 1 week, during which they would promise not to consider proposals from your rivals. Expound on the special, non-financial benefits you can offer them, such as access to prestigious networks or a top-notch PR team, to encourage the other party to this type of shutdown move, referred to as such since it eliminates competition on your side of the table. Number 4. Enjoy a rest. Even if it seems paradoxical, delaying a discussion for a day, a week, or even longer could help you reach a faster agreement. You can relax from the frequently tense and stressful environment of business talks by taking a break. Additionally, it enables you to review your progress with your team and, if applicable, your supervisors. You can determine whether it makes sense to continue working toward concluding a business deal with the aid of this kind of analysis. Number 3. Involve a reliable outsider. Because one or both parties are hesitant to make their best offer, discussions can sometimes stagnate. If so, you might advise hiring a dependable, unbiased third party. Each side could discuss their position in private sessions with the third party. The latter could then inform you if a zone of probable agreement, or ZOPA, exists. If not, it's most likely time to go elsewhere. If so, you ought to be able to spot a deal right away, with or without the advisor's assistance. Number 2. Switch up the lineup. Consider hiring substitutes if you or your team is having trouble concluding a business agreement. A new team on one or both sides may be better equipped to approach the negotiation objectively. Free from any emotional baggage or personality conflicts that might be preventing you from moving forward. Number 1. Establish a contingency agreement. In the end, you can consider the idea of a contingent contract, which is essentially a wager on which parties' future expectations will come true. For instance, advise putting in place a penalty for late completion, or an incentive for early or on-time completion if you think a remodeler will do a terrific job on your home but that his deadline is overly ambitious. he ought to be content to accept the contingency if he truly believes he can make his deadline. Such deal provisions permit parties to agree to disagree on important matters. A difficult process. Closing a deal isn't always the wisest course of action. By adhering to our recommendations, you will be better able to determine whether a bargain is feasible and when you have to look into other possibilities. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.